Good morning, everybody. It is April 14th, 2019. It is Teri Hunter. I finally made it in. Today's a little bit different. Happy birthday, Lotta. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm following Natalia's seminar this morning. We didn't really coordinate that very well. Hi, everybody. So I'm starting a little late, but I'm here. I didn't think I was going to make it, and then had a bunch of challenges getting in. Anyway, I'm here. That's all that matters. And happy birthday to Lotta. I'm going to jump right in to it. I will say I pulled the number last week, and we did not have a winner. Let me grab the bowl. Hold on. I'm a little disorganized. I'll admit it. Okay. So we had, I believe the number was 490. Yeah. Here was the number 490. And unfortunately, there was not a winner. So we're going to pick another number between 1 and 500. Keeping good thoughts. Lotta's birthday will be good luck for somebody. Yay. Oops. Oh, number's falling out. Okay, here we go. Grab it. All right. There it is, going back in the envelope. We'll check next thing. Remember, everybody, it's numbers between 1 and 500. Hi, small wildflowers. I'm going to take you up on your offer to be my moderator. Is that still open? I'm going to come over here and see how I do that. Add moderator. Okay, good. Small wildflowers, you have been, you're the go-to girl today. Okay. All right, let's jump into Aries, everybody. Thank you. I really did not think I was going to make it here today. I was getting ready this morning, and it occurred to me, wait, can Natalia be live and me be live at the same time? I don't think that'll work. And then, luckily, she just ended at 11:15. So it worked. All right. Aries, what's up for you this week? Okay. Our first angel is Mystique. Our second is Crystal. I said it like the champagne. Adriana and Chantal. Oh, nice. All right, let's add to it. Our Avalon deck. Well, I find it so funny that we're having Natalia talk about relationships and love and intimacy. And here, Aries, this is all looking about like it's talking about that very thing. And again, I want to remind everybody, I go by rising signs. So this is Aries rising. All right. So I feel like this is about romance, about relationships. Hi, Robert. I hope you had a good birthday this week. Hello, Heidi. Okay. So here we have Mystique. She says to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. And then we have the serpent. The serpent really talks about knowledge and healing, but it's allowing for shedding of a skin. You know, as we age, we get used to certain dynamics that we've experienced in relationships. And at some point, if we're going to really have the relationship we want, we have to give life to that idea. And that's why I'm going to jump to the fourth position, Chantal and the letting go card. Because Chantal talks about a new romance is imminent or the resurgence of a current romance. And then the letting go card has never been about letting go for me. It's Elsa going up the mountain in Frozen, that movie from Disney. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. And it's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. Aries, it's time for you to break the rules in love. And I just find this to be so funny. I'm literally sitting here listening to Natalia breaking all the rules on the internet about talking about intimacy. And here it is, Aries. It's time for you to do that, because here Crystal is saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And then here is the owl. The owl is the difference between deception and wisdom, the two sides of one coin. For every night, there's a day. For every day, there's a night. So what Mystique is asking, and what the serpent is saying, is focus in on what you have, your hope, what you want. Focus in on the potential outcome of of how it feels to be in a relationship, because I have Adriana in the Angel's Advice saying she's leading you to the answers to your prayers, through your dreams, through your desires, through your yearnings. And then there's the birth and the rebirth card. And then again, we have Chantal in the final position. So for Aries rising, this is really about giving life to new, it's spring. You know, there's these beautiful dynamics. Today is a very fortuitous day. We've got a full moon coming up in Libra. I mean, there's been, I think, a lot of talked on her last video about how there's been 2 full moons in Libra. That's all focused in on partnerships. So I want to really offer Aries rising the opportunity to go to the end of the story, what it feels like once you're in that relationship, and really dig in deep to the point where you get goose flesh. Because I really think that this is about allowing a relationship in. And if you've been in a relationship for a long time, it's about allowing yourself to see yourself through new eyes. So dusting off the old dynamic, and rather than focusing in on how your partner's showing up, just focus on how you're showing up for now, and then give life to the ripple effect of that. Okay, let's go on to Taurus rising. And I just want to say to Rajiv, I'm actually Teri Hunter, not Lada. I'm one of the contributors on her channel, but I'm sure that she will receive your energetic blessings. So thank you for leaving them here. Okay, let's go on to Taurus rising. All right. All right, here we go. Ooh. Well, 2 cards just flew out of the deck. Archangel Raphael and Akasha. Can't ignore that. All right. We have Astera joining them and Mystique. Okay. You know, Taurus rising, as I look at Archangel Raphael while I'm shuffling, I can't help but think about the idea of being healed. You know, oftentimes we look outside of ourselves, we'll go to healers to facilitate a healing, but it's really a reconciliation. It's the understanding of the experience and how it's helping me to evolve to a higher vibration of who and what I am and my own ability to manifest. So I think that's very interesting because, all right, so now we have the serpent joining Archangel Raphael. We have Akasha, the spiritual teacher card with the truth. We have Stera being joined by the high priestess. And then we have Mystique being joined by the protection card. Okay, so we all know that Uranus went into Taurus. I think Taurus has been going through a lot of challenging dynamics even before this was going on, and the whole ending of coming up on the cusp from Aries and then going back into Aries, because Archangel Raphael is offering this healing, but the healing comes as you reconcile the experience or the dynamic and then allow yourself to let that skin shed, allow yourself to become fresh and new, and to trust that you have the knowledge that you need in order to reconcile the experience. Because I'm again going to jump to the final position. Mystique is asking you to keep charging ahead. This is being in process. And this is always Gloria Estefan coming out of the dark and into the light, that song from her bus accident. And then we have the protection card. There's a bigger wisdom to what you're experiencing and what you are reconciling and being healed from. Because in my opportunity, the obstacle is Akasha, the spiritual teacher. And I don't think this is about you being a spiritual teacher as much as you looking for the spiritual lesson to be received within this experience, because there's the truth card. And I want to say that when I look at Taurus rising, I think that there's a little bit of that reconciliation, is if you go to the deeper truth of the situation, did it really serve you, or were you settling in some way? Were you rubbing off an edge that you needed or something that you were willing to let go of? Because there's also, I have Astera. She's the angel that says to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires and not to compromise. And there's the high priestess. To me, this is the deep vision that speaks back to the truth of what it is that I want. So let's just say that you are in a relationship right now. We'll just go, capitalize on this Libra full moon partnership idea. And what if this relationship has gotten to a place where you've either broken up or you are no longer compatible? If you, rather than mourning it from that deep loss of all your dreams are falling apart, being able to look at it from a more objective point of view. Was it truly serving both of us? And could we somehow be happier and more fulfilled if this dynamic shifted to a different place? I feel like that's where the real protection and the reconciliation comes from. And if for some reason it's another type of issue, going to the deeper truth of what it has to offer you. I think you guys that have been watching me for a while know that I've been talking about a disruption in the neighborhood. And while it again is out of my hands, the deeper truth for me is being able to look at how I'm showing up and how conscious I get to be when I'm feeling attacked. To be honest, that's the only way to put it. So it really did offer me something to learn about myself, and also a choice to make on how I wanted to show up in the face of sort of disruptive energy. So I want to offer for Taurus rising to really think about this shedding of the skin as giving you an opportunity to come out of this new and to really work with the process of going back to your deeper truth and asking yourself if the situation and the dynamics really fit what you see for and what you want for your life, not what other people want you to want for your life. Okay, we'll go on to Gemini. Misbehaving. You're in the hospital. I really hope you're feeling better. Oh my goodness. And how do I say that? Renisi? You lost your job, your whole career, diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. Oh my goodness. Well, I want to offer you this. Meditating would be really good. Getting into your breath, getting into whatever fear-based thoughts you maybe have. Losing that job may have a deeper purpose for your higher and greater good. And as far as misbehaving, I'll be sending you some good healing vibes, hoping that you're feeling better and getting out of that hospital real soon. It's always best to heal at home, at least for me. Okay. All right, here we go. Gemini rising. It just occurred to me. I'm thinking I'm going to pronounce it like, is it Renice? Like Denise, Renisi? I'm not sure how to say that. But, I want to offer you this idea. Hi, Stephen. A couple of years ago, 15 years ago, 16, 17 years ago now, I lost everything I own and I moved back from North Carolina. And I thought, Rensi, got it. Rensi. It was a devastating loss. It was unexpected, out of nowhere. And I thought I was moving my story forward and progressing it. And I took for 15 million steps backwards. Losing your job could be an opportunity to really claim what it is you want, to get so sick of somebody else's agenda or chasing some sort of security that doesn't come from a paycheck. So really letting yourself dig deep about what you want, and rather than looking at this as a loss, rather looking at it a fork in the road, and do I want to follow the light or do I want to follow my heart? And I say that in a weird way, because what the light felt like was like, it didn't feel like a light, like spirit's light. It almost felt like an oncoming train, like, a moth to a flame trying to be safe. So to me, there's this energy right now that everyone's been talking about all these personal planets in these benevolent places. We sometimes don't understand that disruption is a benevolent act, because it actually gets us out of what is not really making us happy and pushing us towards being authentic in that and moving towards that. If nothing else, at least within our being energy. Okay, Gemini rising. If you ever feel like you're being psychically attacked, call upon the archangels to protect you, to stand and only allow energies equal to or higher than your own into your space. And then sage, guys. All right, Gemini rising. Oh, Archangel Raphael and Desiree came out together. We have Grace and Antoinette. And then finally, we've got Maya and Archangel Uriel who came out together. So this is an interesting day. So we'll just have to go with that. Everything's going to be a little bit different than it was before. Sometimes I tell these stories and it always surprises me how poignant they will end up being to what's coming up. Awesome, Orphan. So we have the Baird joining Archangel Raphael. We have the communication card joining Desiree. We have the letting go card joining Grace and Antoinette. And we have the Hawk joining Archangel Uriel and Maya. Okay, so this is kind of feels like for Gemini, I want to say Gemini rising, this really feels like looking back into your story of like how often Gemini is so beautiful. The sign of the twins, the sign of to me, I always sort of see it as going back and forth. You're able to really be very ambidextrous in your thoughts. And I feel like what Archangel Raphael is offering is a healing from your story. And this is not about healing. Remember, this is about the reconciliation of it, where it makes sense. It makes sense of if I hadn't had that challenging dynamic, I wouldn't know that I have the ability to be here or do this or feel this way. Because what I believe is the focus of this week for Gemini rising is to work on your inner dialogue. I have the communications card, and then I have Desiree. And Desiree says conditions are not necessarily favorable. And I think that's really because you're a little bit stuck in the story, a little bit stuck in where you've been, how you've gotten there, or where you haven't been, and starting to believe that that's true. Just because you haven't experienced it, it's never going to happen. Because Grace and Antoinette is asking you to have compassion for yourself as you let it go, meaning write your own story. And if you go back to, when I go back to Desiree and the communications card, I'm writing a story, Gemini rising, that I'm not winning at. And Spirit's saying, no, we don't want to go there, because we really want to learn something from our line of thought. This is really Archangel Uriel is dealing, they talk about anger and unforgiveness and frustration, but it's also doubt. Where does anger come from sometimes? Where does that, this doubting of self, where my story is never worked for me before, and it means it'll never work for me? That's not true, because Maya's going to teach you that's not true, because she's asking you to rise above your fears and to have the sight of the hawk, to be, up above the boar that are running in the field. They don't know why. They just know that the ass in front of them is running, so they're running. So I'm gonna encapsulate it like this. Big sip, hold on. I feel like Archangel Raphael is asking you, Gemini rising, to be brave in rewriting your story. There's a song by Rascal Flatts called Bless the Broken Road. And it's basically talks about if any one of those relationships that didn't work out before had worked out, it would be different. It's through the broken road that we find the appreciation, that we find the reverence, the gratitude, cherishing that dynamic. So that's what Spirit's offering you. No matter what it is that you are wanting to experience, whether it's a new career, whether it be parenthood, whether it be an intimate relationship, whether it be your own individuality and birthing that unique expression out into the world, it is time to rewrite that story and be patient with yourself as you walk through the process of going back and forth, back and forth. And when you go back and forth, just ask Spirit to give you the eyes to see yourself through a new lens and rewrite the story. All right, let's go on to Cancer rising. Yeah, I like to, I actually, there's so many angels other than the ones that are just depicted, the top four. There's the unknown, the 144 unknown angels that are, they work in the realm of egolessness, to be able to be, to use our ego at its highest vibration. When we're praying for anything, I want to say, always say gratitude. Thank you for this. The please is sort of has a scarcity energy. And when, I read about the 144 actually in the medical medium book. He channeled that through his spirit guide. And it really resonated with me because when I have been meditating for as long as I can remember, the 144 are actually a feminine energy. And again, they're working with the ego. It's balancing the ego. So have no names and they don't have a face, at least not one that can see. So it was really the reason it resonated with me is because whenever I meditate, I always see the faint image of a woman, but I don't see her whole face. I'll see her nose or her smile or an eye, but never everything together. So when I read that, I really thought, oh, this is part of my tribe because I think that's something I'm working on is my ego in this lifetime. And not that I think I'm egomaniacal, but I definitely want to be seen and heard. And I haven't experienced a lot of that in my intimate family. So that's where that comes from, Orphan. Um, but I wanted to just bring up that the reason I said that is because we can call on Archangel Michael and all the ones that we know, but there's so many others that are willing to be there for us. So when we sort of open up the field to whatever energies are most focused in our highest and greatest good, then we invite in things that our human mind hasn't discovered yet, but our soul may remember. Okay, on to Cancer. Cancer rising, everybody. Sure, Heidi. I love to teach. I love sharing the things that I've learned over the years. It's fun. Oh, we have 117 people and 17 likes. Oh, every time I say that, the number changes. Just when I think there's some synchronicity. Whoops. All right. All right, my Cancers. There you go. Mystique just flew out. Okay. Then we have the Patience. Then we have Chantal. And then we have Rosetta. All right. Okay. All right, joining Mystique, we have the Letting Go card. Well, she isn't showing herself up. We have the Mystery card joining Patience. We have the Serpent joining Chantal. And we have the Fire Fairy joining Rosetta. Okay. Thank you, Small Wildflowers. I appreciate that. Okay. So interesting that there are so many cards in this deck and just the same few are showing up. The Letting Go card is rewriting my story. It is looking at my fear and choosing to let it empower me versus paralyze me. And here's Mystique in process, charging ahead, keeping her eye on the prize and keeping her intention in alignment with what she wants to experience. I'm going to keep jumping to the fourth position because I feel like the first and the fourth are really more anchored into the material experience. So I want to go here to Rosetta is the card of parenting children and teaching. Then we have the Fire Fairy, which is about creative action and optimism. I feel like this is really about Cancer rising, letting themselves write the story of how they want things to be and being creative and naive and childlike in many ways in their optimistic creativity of thinking about this coloring. Little kids put on capes and are superheroes. Little kids believe in princes and fairy tales, because the Patience card and the Mystery card are really about a choice. Mystery is the choice, that what will you do. Every reader that ever gives you a reading gives you a snapshot of the energetic dynamic in that moment. You go out of that reader's place and you say, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to go to a sperm bank and have kids on my own. Then you change everything. Because Patience here is about learning and studying and observing my behavior. How is my energy rippling out? And in this respect, I want to jump again to Rosetta, because I want you to be excited. I want that choice to be, I'm going to be naive, and I'm going to believe in magic. I'm going to believe in magic, and it's going to happen because the angels. It's Chantal. When Chantal is in the angel's advice, I never really think of it as outside love. I think of it as inside love. as if here I am, as I make this choice to observe my own ripple effect, I fall more deeply in love with myself because I believe I shed the skin of illusion that I'm not a creator, that I'm not a manifester, that I can't have the things I want to have, because we absolutely can have the things we want to have. It's why we incarnate. People say, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Your purpose on this planet is to be you. Just be you, whatever that is, the nooks, the crannies, the changing lanes, the discovery of other things. You don't, the human mind wants to pick something. Oops, sorry. Get rid of that. The human mind wants to pick something. What are you going to be when you grow up? Well, what if you want to be a bunch of things? And why not try on one of this and a little bit of that? Give yourself permission. That's what I want to say. To write your story, Cancer rising. Write your story and be childlike in your willingness to be creative and endeavor it. Okay, let's go on to Virgo. No, Leo. Leo. Every once in a while, I have to skip my Leos. How could that be? Okay. All right, Leo rising, here we go. Thanks, everybody. And while I'm shuffling, I think I'll just remind you all that tomorrow is the last day to get your Pluto Saturn K2 reading for the 40% off. It's still, I think, $59. It'll go up to $89 after that. So if you want to jump on that, I'd love to. It's been very interesting to see almost every single reading with this conjunction. I've had somebody from the other side come through, which I kind of try to avoid because there's so many mediums out there and so many expectations that I kind of don't really go into that lane. And yet when I invite all energies equal to or higher than my own into the space, then relatives tend to come through, which I think is funny because that Pluto thing makes me feel like they're coming through that way. And I don't know. All right, Leo, here we go. Fiona is our first angel. Oh, the second is Rochelle. The third is Merlina. And the final is Shanti. All right. Oh, Luna, that's going to be fun. Your moon and your Neptune. I just did a reading for somebody who had that same, it's actually crossing over their natal moon and Neptune. Okay, here we go is the cat joining Fiona, the mystery card joining Rochelle, the forgiveness card joining Merlina, and the dog joining Shanti. Okay. All right. First thing I want to say to my Leo rising is that this is really, for me, this feels, it's all about you this week, all about your own being, you're expressing yourself, doing what you want to do. And I don't mean this, when I say this, guys, I never mean it's about shirking responsibilities. I never mean it's about, not being there for the people that you love, but also being there for yourself. Because when you're there for yourself, then you can be there better for others. Because Fiona is asking you to turn over your wants and desires to spirit right now. Literally, she says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. They're moving things around. And then we have the cat. The cat is about healthy boundaries and independence. To me, the first thing this struck me as was independence. Maybe my Leo risings are wanting to do something for themselves that's maybe a little bit outside the box, or outside the box just for you because you've never tried it. So again, I'm going to go to the final position because I have Shanti and the dog. The dog is about unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity, and Shanti is about peace. And before peace can come in, whatever's disrupting that peace has to move out. Now, it's kind of funny because they have a dog and a cat. And in some ways, they may say they're opposites, and in some ways, they're like pairs because we always think of them as opposites in pair. So I want to say this for my Leo cats. I feel like it's really about loving yourself like a dog. Because I have Rochelle here. Rochelle, it says, as I honor and follow the guidance of my heart, prosperity is coming to me now. This is my favorite angel because she's really saying, be you, be whatever you want. Do whatever you want. And when you do that, all the resources that you need will be provided for you by spirit. But you have to make a really big choice. You have to choose it. And in the angel's advice is where the real choice comes, because Merlino says you that that you need more information. And in this respect, I feel like I need more experience, not necessarily information, but experience practicing this vibration. And then I have the forgiveness card, which is all about reconciliation. So as I continue to create experiences where I'm unsure, and yet I follow the guidance of my heart, I follow what I want versus the little nagging, can you, will it work out, won't it work out, I don't know, are you good enough? That needs to That's what Shanti's saying. Let that slip on by and just keep going back, and you're going to feel really good about yourself. I think this is this energy, that we've got this week and this full moon. I mean, we talk about energies every week because we are literally energetic beings swimming through energetic dynamics. And those energetic dynamics are evidenced here on the earth through the ocean tides and the sun and the moon shining up and down in a consistent fashion. So when we pay attention to the unseen energetic and start to drive the bus through it versus being like this through it, we'll feel more peace of mind and more love for self and others. Okay, let's go on to Virgo. Small wildflowers, I just am sending so much love to you right now for helping me stay focused. I really appreciate you moderating today. Thank you. Okay. Do one more thing here. Okay. All right, here we go, Virgo. Do a quick knocking out the old energy. All righty. Our first angel is Sonia. The second is Layla. The third is Francesca. And the final is Maya. All righty. Again, you guys, these are all by rising sign here. Then you check your rising, then your moon, and then your sun. That's the way I do it. And I think that's the way a lot does it. I think of it that way because ever since I was a little girl, being an Aries rising, I just am so not Libra-like. It's the least thing I am is Libra-like. And then I'm a Taurus moon. So I can be stubborn. So I'm trying to be more open in the way that I view things when I'm not getting things when things are coming in a challenging way. Okay, let's go on. Enough about me. All right, Virgo rising. Sonia is joined by the partnership card. Layla is joined by the frog. Francesca is joined by the wasp. And the restriction card is joined by Maya. Well, isn't this fun? All right, so Sonia talks about, she represents a deceased loved one. She will say that, I'm happy and in heaven, etc. I actually think that this is about your spirit guides, and they are asking you to be in partnership with them this week, more so maybe now than you have been up until now, my Virgo risings, because there is, again, I'm going to go to the final position. Whatever's going on this week there's a stall. Look, there's the restriction card and there's Maya. Maya talks about schooling and education. There's a reason for the stall, and you may be so ready to move forward. You may think, oh no, I need that job. I'm supposed to get that job this week. They're supposed to call me. Oh no, my bills. This is where you get to go back and turn it over to spirit. If there is a pause in any way, give yourself permission to think that there's a bigger picture here, and then spend some time out in nature, or at least looking out your windows, looking even at nature shows on television, because I think that this is the emotional cleanup card, and I feel like spirit is saying, they're really asking Virgo to get out of their head and to start to think that maybe there's something bigger going on that I don't know about. And the worry and the fretting is not doing me any good, because I got the wasp and I've got Francesca saying, what are you visualizing right now? Are you visualizing what you want to come towards you, or are you visualizing what challenges, what obstacles, what's going to get in the way? Because this is a growing frustration and an anger. And so Spirit's saying to appease that anger, that frustration, spend some time in nature, breathing, allowing yourself to really connect with the idea that I'm here to get a message from you, Spirit. I'm here to say, I'm here in partnership with you, looking for some relief from this restriction. Give me some idea of what's going on. So I want to say this, Virgo rising. I was out this morning with the dog, and he went and sniffed in a little bush, and a big old bunny went flying by. I didn't see the bunny at first, but it's a big old bunny. And usually I see little bunnies. So I have been, that absolutely connected to me to being prolific. And the bigger the bunny, the older the bunny is, the more it's been able to dodge the obstacles and the wolves and the coyotes and everything. So I let myself tell a little story, because that's how I know that Spirit is working with me to give me comfort, to trust that I am indeed being provided for. And anything that might seem like a disruption could actually be the good news. Maybe it's not bad news. Maybe it's something that, if that had been in place, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. Okay. All right, here we go. On to Libra rising. Your moon, my moon, our moon, this week. I think it's at the end of the week. Yes, these are general readings for each sign by rising sign. And what these are to help you guys maneuver through the astrological dynamics that Lada and some of the Kinsenya and some of the other people talk about on the channel. This is connecting with your personal guides and your angels to help spawn thought, to help create a relationship between you and them, a personal relationship. Okay. And my name is Teri Hunter, and I am a reader on Lada's channel, and you can find out about me under the readers menu if you like to read more about me. Okay, Libra, here we go. Alrighty. First angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Rosetta. The third is Celeste. And the final is Bridget. Okay. You know, Archangel Uriel is really making himself known today, which leads me to believe that, we hear about all these sometimes we hear about these favorable dynamics. Oh, so rare. Yay. This seize the day. And we go out to seize the day, and the day comes and the day goes, and we don't really see anything with our eyes. And it can really create a sense of frustration. But so oftentimes our eyes don't tell us the truth. It's our heart that tells us the truth. All right, Libra rising. Here we go. So joining Uriel is the dragon, okay? So this really says to me, is your power, Libra, in your frustration? Is your power in that little small place that you're sitting? And I say this because I'm talking to myself, because sometimes we can really believe a situation is insurmountable because we're just looking at it from one point of view. I feel like my strength comes in my willingness to say, okay, I'm really kind of annoyed by this, but I am going to open up my viewpoint and try to be a little bit more, have the innocence of a child, because here's Rosetta, and here's the eagle on top of Rosetta, or with Rosetta. This is the childlike innocence, and then this is the connection to the angelic realm. It's also about integrity. It's very much about integrity. And then I have the letting go card and Celeste. in the angel's advice. Celeste, for me, will talk about a new place of employment and a new home, ushering in new positive energy. But the way I believe, what I think is whether or not I have the ability to be happy in those dynamics, because that's what I think is going on here. Is there's something more, you know, I feel like to say to Libra right now, Libra represents justice. It represents balance. It represents things pertaining to the law. So as you're potentially frustrated with something, your power will lie in your ability to stay in balance, to be able to stay within the confines of the law. And I mean that not like following the law as much as universal law, trying to show up as you would want someone to show up with you. Because right now, I've got Bridget asking you to look deeper into the situation, and then there's the king. This to me pertains right straight up to things pertaining to the law. So I'm just going to share a quick little story. Being a Libra sun, I can relate to this because I have some things going on in the neighborhood that are can only be helped through the governmental process, through city council and code enforcement and things like that. And it can create a great sense of frustration when people see an infraction, but they didn't come on that day to see that infraction. So they ignore it and then they only look over here. It doesn't make sense to me. Hence my frustration. And then my power doesn't come from my frustration. It comes in my ability to play inside the rules and think outside the box. That's what I'm going to go with. So that's what Bridget is offering you. Libra rising, think outside the box. Be a little more strategic in your thinking. Stand as a king over your, and I say that versus the queen because I want to strategize. I want to strategize as if I don't want to call warfare. That's not good. That's not the vibration I want to send out, but it is a cool heads prevail. Cool heads prevail. Okay. That's where I'm going with that. All right, let's go into Scorpio. All right. A little sip of water. Oh, thank you very much, Keep Clam. Keep Clam? Thank you very much. I read that as keep calm for some reason. I think that's probably maybe me with Archangel Uriel there. Keep calm. Okay. All right, Scorpio rising. Here we go. Our first angel is Oceana. Our second is Sonia. Our third is Grace and Antoinette. And then we have Francesca. You know, it's funny to me as I'm looking down and I'm just thinking about, I spent the morning thinking I wasn't going to do the show because I thought that Natalia's would run over longer. And then I'm listening to her and, a lot of what she was talking about is self-worth and what we visualize and what we think and, having compassion for receiving, feeling like we deserve to receive. And then I'm looking down at these spreads and they all feel like they're connected to us as humans this week, learning to receive in ways that isn't quite always materially anchored. It's more that confidence that knows that if it hasn't shown up, it's about to. Okay. Scorpio rising. We have the hawk that joined Oceana, the bee joined Sonia, the dog joined Grace and Antoinette, and the letting go card joined Francesca. All right. So this is really talks about, Oceana talks about lovingly asserting yourself that you are in touch with your truth in this dynamic of what you want. And then we have the hawk. And this is really kind of very encouraging because Oceana is saying it's okay for you to have trepidation. It's okay for you to have doubt, Scorpio. It's okay for you to wonder if, it's too good to be true or if things are really going to happen the way you perceive they're going to happen. But Oceana is saying, you know what, go ahead and take action based on your deeper truth because here you're being watched over by your guardian angels. Here's Sonia again. Hello, Romania. And here's the B card, okay? And this is your guardian angels reminding you to continue to believe, to put your attitude and your disposition into faith, not hope, but faith, because that's where it will be anchored. And while you go through this process of unknowing, have compassion for yourself. Here's the dog card. This is about love. This is about loyalty. This is unconditional love, sincerity. Um, this is when, when I look at this, it's about being when I ask my Scorpio rising, is your deeper truth, if you're waiting for news from something and you feel really good about it, but the news just hasn't come, there's nothing in the material to say, yay, say yay anyway. Say yay anyway. Because here is Francesca asking you to visualize what you want. And there's the letting go card. This is really about rising above my fear. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small. Well, what does the hawk do but fly above and above and above until those fears are just like this? So I want to offer my Scorpio risings. Really, this is an internal job this week. This is about, I kind of can't help but thinking, coming on the heels of Natalia's seminar, what if this for Scorpio is about love? What if it is about a proposal? What if that's really your deeper, deeper truth? Then the taking action is allowing yourself to open up to receive. It's not about getting on Match.com. It's about being willing to rise above your fears and trepidations and saying, okay, so I've always had somebody who skirts the truth in every relationship. So instead of worrying and focusing on the skirting of the truth, you say to Spirit, thank you for bringing me somebody who shows up, somebody who is transparent in their communication, somebody who is open and honest in their expression of how they feel about me, and then go from there. All right, let's go on to Sagittarius. Okay. Here we go, Sagittarius, rising and moon, but rising. Okay. All right. Our first angel is Mystique. The second is Astera. The third is Caressa. And the final is Francesca. Okay. Joining Mystique is the Spider. Joining Astera is the Baird. Joining Caressa is the Wealth card. And joining Francesca is the Trust card. Okay. So, all right. Mystique, keep charging ahead. Expect miraculous solutions. Miracles are simply energetic alignment to your deepest intention. And as you align to it, things seem to miraculously appear. It's really not really a miracle. It's magic, yes, because it's hard for the human to align, but it is our natural way of being. Here is the Spider. Now, this is really fun for me because the Spider card talks about creative projects, but I always have sort of seen it as my real estate salesperson's card because once they create the relationship with the client, they become like the fly that goes into that spider web and doesn't come out. So, and I don't mean that in a dark way. I mean that in a good way. Not like the spider is going to eat the fly. The relationship will be solid. So what I'm trying to say for my Sagittarius is that keep charging ahead. What you were creating has the ability to be solid in its creation. Because here I go, jumping to the fourth position again. Francesca says, what do you visualize? It will come about. And then there's the Trust card. So this is really about, in some respects, allowing Sagittarius in this beautiful Jupiter energy to know that the efforts, the dynamics that you've been putting forth are actually allowing for that expansion, and the expansion will stick. Because if you're having, any challenges that we have along the road of creation are actually designed to empower us. Because if we were that rocket ship that just went from 0 to 100 in our success, we would wait for something bad to happen. The human cannot take in that kind of success that quickly. We've been conditioned to feel like we have to work hard for things. So that's why Mystique is allowing you for that experience, but also telling you that it'll be a solid manifestation. Now, in our opportunity or obstacle is Astera, saying reach for the stars without compromise. And then there's the Baird. So I want to say this. Normally I talk about the Baird being about my history, but today, for some reason, I want to say for my Sagittarius rising, the Baird also represents music, poetry, myth, and the enchantment of storytelling. I feel like Spirit is saying, as you go through this period of time, to create some sort of playlist, music. Let music anchor you into your version of yourself. Um, I use music often. I have a playlist. I call it "Get Your Ass On Straight" because when my vibration is off, my manifestation is off. So a lot of the songs have to do with me remembering who I am as a creator. So I want to offer that to my Sagittarius rising this week, is to play music that empowers you into your vision and feeling strong. Because Caressa in the Angel's Advice says you're at the end of a life cycle. New happiness awaits you. And then there's the wealth card. That's the harmonious wealth card. To me, the end of the life cycle is what that old story is. And rather than trying to exterminate the old story as if it were something to be shunned, it's actually what gave you the legs, the foundation to be where you are and where you want to go. Because again, Spirit is supporting your vision of yourself. And as you keep yourself aligned to that vision, it will start to manifest. All right, let's go on to Capricorn. And I always say this every week, I love my goats. Love my goats. And the goats are still up on the hill. I'm telling you, I thought they were gone. They moved to another grazing area and they brought them back. It's really one of the most fun things to see because, I don't know why it reminds me of biblical times. I kind of expect to go up there and see a shepherd, with his little whatever to grab the sheep and his little robe. But they don't look like that. They just look like regular people in Levi's. All right, Capricorn, here we go. Jupiter is retrograde, yes. I'm not sure when it's ending. It's supposed to not be bad. It was supposed to be actually, for some people, give triple the opportunities for expansion, depending upon the degree that it crosses over. For me, I'm just getting it twice. Anyway. All right, here we go. Capricorn. Shanti is our first angel. Our second is Serena. The third is Athena. And the final is Archangel Raphael. Yes, I love that. I've seen that picture of the goats in the trees. That's pretty amazing because there's not just like one or two goats. It's like 50 goats in a tree. Okay. Joining Shanti is the wealth card. Joining Serena is the disruption card. Joining Athena is the raven. And joining Archangel Raphael is the owl. Okay. All right. So this feels like it's about material wealth, just straight up material resources, material dynamics. We talk about Shanti being the angel of peace, but she has to move out the disruption before the peace can come in. This wealth card does not represent money for me. It represents harmonious wealth. It's like Rochelle in some respects, because money is something that is one dynamic of abundance. There is small wildflowers. You can kick anybody out of the room you want. Help yourself. They're nasty. Okay, so the wealth card is about this. For me, is for Capricorn. What you really want is peace of mind. You want to feel a sense of ease. I don't even necessarily think that it's about material ease. I have always feel like my goats are standing in leadership, and in some respects, the ease comes from the ease of those working around you, as well as financial ease. When I look in the disruption card in in relation to Serena, it's interesting to me because it's not necessarily hitting me like money is being disrupted. If you look at Serena, she's very jazzy hands. She's very, look at her posture's kind of slumped in a sort of Anita Baker way, expecting her to sing. And I feel like this is the ease of acceptance of abundance. And then here we have the disruption card. So this is where Shanti comes in, my caps. She's moving something out. So let's look at it this way. I'm going to just put it I like to put it in the professional category. Let's say you've had an employee that worked for you for 10 years and the person knows everything and you're used to them, but they're old and they're burnt out. I mean, not old in age, old in the job. They're burnt out. They're tired. They're getting lazy a little bit, and you don't really want to get rid of them because you're afraid it'll affect your business, but yet they're really not being productive anymore. That's what this feels like to me in some respects. That type of dynamic where something that was good has worn out, and in the wearing out of it, it needs fresh air in some way. Because in the angel's advice, I have Athena saying it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself, and here's the raven saying this is a magic synchronistic events. And then I have Archangel Raphael and I have the owl. So I'm going to go back and just say it, look at it this way. If the dynamic is, say, a professional one, and you unfortunately have to let somebody go that has been around for years, or somebody who has been productive and been a viable asset to your dynamic, whether it be your relationship or your work, because sometimes there comes a point when a separation is needed. And I'm not saying necessarily a breakup, but this to me says that the healing comes from really observing the deeper wisdom and truth of what is good for everyone, not just the individual. So for my Capricorns, I think overall, whether it be in a love relationship, in a familiar relationship, or in a work relationship, this is an opportunity for you to really feel a little bit more peace of mind by being authentic within the relationship and expressing what it is that is disruptive, and also being mindful of how you express that to lovingly assert yourself, because the timing is right for the shift to take place so that reconciliation can then bring a wisdom. Okay, let's go on to Aquarius. I see that I think it's Buteween. Pisces rising Mercury retrograde just fell in a bad month for some. It's interesting. Lotta doesn't talk a lot about Chiron, but Chiron moved into Aries and will be there for the next till 2027. And being in Aries, Chiron, represents the wounded healer. That's how we talk about it in the familiar. But it has three aspects. It's just the wounded. To me, the wound is my soul's contract of what my lesson is to learn in this lifetime. I have Chiron in the 11th house Aquarius. So that makes a lot of sense to me when I look back at my friendships, my hopes, my desires, that area of my life. I also feel like then in seeing that wound, the shaman comes in, the opportunity to put light on the wound, to heal the wound, to reconcile the wound. And then that turns into the alchemist, which then makes something crappy beautiful, basically. So this is where I'm going with this, guys. I feel like this Chiron going into Aries is about self-expression. It's about how Aries is all, number one, the self. It's bold initiative. It's, action-oriented. And depending upon what house it is, it's going to be asking us to be our authentic, unique selves in that place. So if for some reason you're feeling these retrogrades and these planets moving around, at this juncture, it feels like each one is saying, Are you living your deepest truth? Are you living your deepest happiness? Are you settling for something that somebody else gave you? You just inadvertently learned or were taught, or it tumbled down, because I think it's about making a choice. Okay, Aquarius, here we go. And again, I want to give a great shout out to Small Wildflowers for being so gracious and being my moderator. What a difference that makes. I didn't know I could do that. And you guys have been offering for weeks now, and finally learned something new. Old dog, new trick. All right, Aquarius, what is up for you this week? Aquarius rising. We have Caressa. We have the angel Xana. We have Maya. And we have Isaiah. All righty. All right. The disruption card is joining Caressa. The owl is joining Xana. The horse is joining Maya. And the partnership card is joining Isaiah. Okay. So Caressa speaks about having you be at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, to call upon God and the angels to comfort and guide you as you walk through this down this road. And then we have the disruption card. You know, every time our lives shift in any sort of way, if we move from one side of the street to the other, there's a certain amount of disruption. But for me, this sort of feels like, because when I go to the fourth position, this feels like it's talking about in my partnerships. And the disruption feels like it's time to give birth to new ideas about the partnerships, not breakups, but actually recalibrating, reassessing, engaging our mutual vision in our partnerships. And again, I want to talk about both business, personal, and I want to somehow say familia as well. You know, a husband and wife traditionally come together and create children. I believe a child should have a certain amount of voice in the vision of the family. I mean, obviously, when they're babies, they can't, but as they grow, it should be inclusive, because that very idea, and this could be, you know, this giving birth card, she's seriously pregnant, so there could be some of my Aquarians that are actually going to get pregnant, but and that pregnancy might create a disruption. But overall, in general, I feel like this is really mostly about, you know, when we call forth change, we're like, we crave it. And then we kind of freak out a little bit because something's got to move around. And we were like, oh no, spirit, I wanted that to stay exactly the same. I just wanted that to change. But in order for that to change, that has to change too. And that's what I think this disruption is all about. Doesn't have to be crazy. So here, because Xana's saying you're being protected, and it's our job, or your job as Aquarius rising, to look for the wisdom and not get caught up in any sort of illusion, because Maya offers you something to learn. And this is, again, an intuitive card. The horse to me is an incredibly intuitive animal. So as I connect to that intuition, I'm learning something about trusting a bigger wisdom, because at the end of the day, I get to give new life. We start with an ending and we begin with new life. So here's this full moon, Aquarius rising. It's coming in the partnerships in Libra. I think what Spirit is saying is, as you assess your relationships and as you assess the things that you find partnership with, including yourself, and you know something too, we find partnership in inanimate objects. We find partnership with cigarettes. I'm not a smoker anymore. I celebrate 10 years of sobriety from cigarettes, but I had a great relationship with them after dinner every night. So I feel like this is about all sorts of relationships in your life. And I really want to open up Aquarius's mind to thinking outside the box. Okay, let's go on to our final sign, Pisces. You know, Stephen, I'm not surprised that you would remember coming home from the day you were born at the hospital. I have some very vivid memories of being a baby. And I think that sometimes, especially if we're very spiritually connected, you know, our souls come in a certain vibration and connection to spirit to begin with. We'll have a memory. We'll have a lot of memories. All right, Pisces, here we go. It's all about you now. I will try to go backwards once again. Maybe with having a moderator, it'll be more helpful. I always am so afraid when I go backwards, I'm going to forget somebody, because you Pisces do deserve to be first every once in a while. That's not true. You deserve to be first all the time. We all get to be first all the time. Okay. All right, my little fishies. Our first angel is Rochelle. Love Rochelle. Okay, Oceana is our next. The third is Sonia. And the final is Maya. This just kills me the way, look, big old deck, same cards coming out all the time. It's good, Orphan. It's good. See, Rochelle says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. But it's not money. It's more than money. It's laughter. It's love. It's harmony. It's music. It's joy. It's everything that feels good. Joining Rochelle is the Lady of the Lake. Joining Oceana is the Cow. Joining Sonia is the Risk card. And joining Maya is the Fire Fairy. Oh, this is very exciting. So, Rochelle, again, as I honor and follow the guidance of my heart, prosperity is coming to you. Prosperity, if money is what you want, thank you for that bag of money, because here is the Lady of the Lake asking Pisces rising to have the courage and to believe that you deserve, these things are coming, and then to take your actions based on that belief, because here's Oceana saying to lovingly assert yourself towards the things you want. And here is another money card. This is all about abundance, nourishment, asking and receiving. Now, here's Sonia, your spirit guides, saying, connect with us and risk a bigger thought. This is totally law of attraction, guys. It is being able to go into the outcome of how it feels once the dang nabbit money has shown up, and then focusing in on that, because you really have something to learn. Here's Maya. This is a card of schooling and education. And yes, there's the traditional education, but when it comes to in relation with Rochelle, this is my emotional education. As I believe that I'm being provided for, as I believe that $1 and $100 has the same vibration, then I'm being optimistic and creative in my actions, which then allows spirit to start to show me more of the abundance that I need. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little trick of the trade that I do when I'm concerned about money. So, because I believe that being positive is actually worse sometimes than being negative, because it's the resistance of negativity. It's the resistance of my fear. It's the resistance of wanting to look at what my concerns and doubts are. Well, they have a purpose. Concern and doubt has a purpose. It's meant to be there for a reason. As long as I don't panic about it, then I'm good. So what I personally do is I go into some sort of administrative task for my work. I'll catch up on creating distribution lists, or I will send out birthdays. I'm not very consistent about it because usually I'm so busy I don't have time. So, but when I do send out a birthday, it's usually because I'm putting myself in the neutral zone, so spirit can then give me a new experience to re-anchor myself, hence Maya's education, in my optimism, my creative action. Overall, I want to say this. I've been feeling really good for Pisces for quite some time now. So if you haven't seen that materialize in this human experience, then it's still in process. And as you allow and continue to say, you know what, I don't necessarily need the hardcore evidence. I can feel it on the inside. I can feel it. I'm open to receiving, and I become more open every day. Then Spirit's going to start to really lay those breadcrumbs, and sometimes the breadcrumbs are so I don't want to say small, that wouldn't be the right word. They're so sometimes we can skip over them. Sometimes we get signs and we can skip over them because it's like, oh yeah, we have to stop and take note. That's what Maya's asking, because if you add up those little breadcrumbs, you're going to get a loaf. First will be a slice, then there'll be 2 slices, then it'll be a loaf. Okay, that's it for this week. I feel like, honestly, guys, I got to say, I just am so grateful to be here. I didn't think I was going to get the show done today. I just kind of had sort of figured it was not going to work out, and I'm so glad that it did. I missed you guys. I missed thinking that I wasn't going to be able to talk to you. So just want to remind you again, I am Teri Hunter. I'm a reader, angel therapy practitioner on Lada's channel. Every week we have a weekly drawing from 1 to 500. Pick a number, put it in the live chat, or put it in the comments below, and you get an opportunity to win a half-hour free reading with me. We have another day till tomorrow when you can order the Pluto K2 Saturn transit report. That's a 40% off right now. And I've got some other things I'm working on with Lotta, but she's been kind of busy, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to post them by the full moon, and then I can announce them next week. So I hope you'll all come back and join us. Sending love to everybody. Have a great week. Such an honor to be here with you. Tons of love. Bye. Oh, and thank you, Small Wildflowers. You are just a blessing. Thank you. Okay, bye. Oops.